Today we're going to tackle changing your lights in your dash cluster. If I could find where I actually put my stand, it would make things a lot easier because I can't hold this while I'm trying to do everything. I've got to staple things to my head, I think. But anyway, let's get into this once I find my stand. Okay, so as you can see, I've already started. Everything will go into reverse here. So this here is the dash cluster. I'm going to take this piece out so you can actually see, and everything that I'm doing will be done in reverse. That way it's a lot shorter. As I said, this is hard to do with one hand. So as I was saying, this is hard to do when you only have one hand. Hard enough when you got two hands. So on these, and I'll show you once I get this off, your whole dash cluster will come up. Now, on the back here, there are 5 spots for lights. There's one right here, one right here, one right here, one here, and one there. This will light up all of these, okay? This gets connected here, here, and here. This is your main power right here. You'll hear a bunch of noises when you plug this one in. So we're gonna install that. So here's your first one, and then your other 2, which are all set up in the back. So let's take a closer look. So I left this hooked up. You can unhook this as well, but I have to test this afterwards. So I'm putting in LED lights. I'm replacing the old lights that are in here. Now, this is the air inside. So you're going to have a screw here, here, over here, and one down here for the cluster. This center here has to come off because there's one screw here when you're putting everything back together. So you will have to take your middle console out and everything else out. These are T5s. So now when you get these, they come in 2 pieces. This piece and this piece. This will go into that. When it's done, it will look like that. Make sure that these pieces that are up here, these pieces here, these metal pieces, are up. So if they're flat, push them up a little so they'll have a better contact when they go in. When these go in, it's easier to use needle nose pliers. Make sure you don't turn all the way. You're gonna wanna turn 45, not 90. Otherwise, these will not stay on the connections that are here. You can see the metal. You wanna make sure that it's still connected to that. If you turn too far, it's not gonna connect and your lights won't work. Now, I had it in at the dealership for them to fix these lights because I had that top part glued on, which I'll show you. This was glued on here and onto here. So this piece has to come off. So this was glued on. So this had to come off. That's why I took it to the dealership. The dealership spent, I think it was 3-4 hours removing and trying to figure out the lights. And they couldn't get it going. They couldn't get them working. They wouldn't work for them. And I paid for that. They're going to reimburse me for that because I got it home. Since that piece was taken off, I ended up doing it myself. Took it out, had the same issue they did. Scratched my head a little, looked at it, looked at the thing. Instead of turning it all the way, only partial way, and all my lights worked. Only problem was I put in one bulb that's a different color. So instead of a light blue, it's a dark blue. And it's gonna bug me, my OCD. So I just had to replace that. So once I figured that out, put all lights in, plugged it in, everything worked, put it all back together. It took me 45 minutes. So this is a job that should only take you about half an hour if you follow these simple rules, not 3-4 hours. So let's get back to putting this thing together. Now, the main dome lights come on with that one. So let's put it in. let's test it out. And see this light right now? You'll see right now this light isn't working, so I've turned this one too far. So now I gotta just twist it a bit more and this light will work. So I gotta get in and do this. Pushing these tabs up a little so they sit up a little bit so they connect better. You can kind of see them up there. So now let's put this back in. So the tedious part is putting it all back together because you can't really see too well. Still not working. Now that might be a faulty light, so we'll check that one out too. Let me try something here. Okay, that worked. So that one was just like a little bit off. So just a slight twist back and it actually works. So you have to be very careful how you place these things. So now let's put it back together. So you can see right here, I had this glued onto this and this whole piece comes off in order to get to the cluster. And this does have a couple screws, but they're down here. And in order to do all that, you'd have to take all this apart. So I don't even bother putting screws in this because I'm always in here, whether it's hooking up wiring or doing something. So I just leave this and it snaps in, stays in place anyway. So that's not a necessity. There we go, it's all back together. Lights work. It's very simple. These are getting replaced soon. Can't wait. Wear and tear. We're gonna replace the lights in this. This is only 3 lights and they're right here. So we're gonna replace these with LEDs. Now this is easy, very easy. You're just gonna pull your dash off. At least in my case, that's all I do. Book out because it's just going to fall out anyway. I have 2 sets of pliers. Sometimes these ones work really well for LED lights and then these work as well. So let's change these. They almost look like the same lights as the dash. Actually, they are. Huh, okay. Perfect. Now I need to find the right color because this is a dark blue. I need a light blue. So I gotta test these out. Now the way I test these lights, they're low voltage lights. So I'm using a 9-volt battery. covers. Okay, there we go. So that's a light blue. Okay. Now, you're gonna ask, okay, how can you tell? I'll show you. Because somewhere in here is a dark blue. There's a dark blue. It's a different color compared to the light. So that goes into that pile. This, I'm gonna think, is a light blue, but who knows? It's a light blue. I'm gonna say this is a light blue too. Okay, these things are driving me nuts. I can't get a proper grip with these covers. And that's another light blue. Okay, so I'm putting light blues in. I only need 3, so I got these 3. I put my dark blue up here, and that, we're good. Now for these lights, they go into a base. And it's very simple. You just push them in. Make sure you have it the right way. Make sure you have the base down. And you just pop it right in like that. See? I find that these LEDs are a lot better than some of the past LEDs I've gotten. They got bad wiring in them. Let's go put these in. We're going to lift these up a little bit. And I'll show you what I did on this one here, so you have a closer shot. So these lights here, the original lights on these are these little bulbs. And that makes this a green color. So these are the LEDs. These fit in the same way. Just remember, lift those tabs. There's little things in here that lock it in. Make sure those go into these open gaps that are right here. Don't know if you can see. See, those looks like a little keyhole. So you're gonna put it in like that. Make sure you push it in, and then you're gonna turn it. And you're gonna turn it clockwise, and it locks right in, straight up. Now, before I put it all back together, just want to test it out. It's all working. We're good to go. There we go. Doing your own work on your vehicle, sometimes it isn't rocket science. It's just understanding your vehicle. I've had this apart so many times that I kind of know my dash because I've wired stuff. I've changed out the the deck. I've added buttons for heating. I've changed with the USB or one of the old cigarette plugs, power plugs, whatever you want to call them, to a USB plug. I did that in the back as well. I left one because that's running my radar detector. I've added switches. I've added so many things. I've had this apart so many times. I've changed lights. I've had issues with lights. And it's nice to know that, you know, something can be fixed easily. So don't be scared to try something. You know, lighting in your vehicle isn't that hard. In these Dodges, you have to make sure that you have the right lighting because they don't work well with low voltage. So a lot of this stuff requires some sort of canvas, and these lights have all that kind of stuff built in, where some of the lights I've used in the past, like these LEDs, didn't work because of the connections and stuff like that. They start flickering. So these ones are garbage, and I won't buy these ones. These ones will actually go back. And I don't know what the other brand is that I bought. I mean, I've got these ones too. They're going to go back too. But I like these ones because I can adjust that connection. The connection isn't a little piece of wire. These will hold up. The light is all the way around instead of just facing up. It surrounds that area and you get a better light for it. So make sure you choose the right LED for your instrument cluster, whatever the lighting is that you want to change.